Kayla, and today I'm going to be talking about the best and worst things about being legally blind. And some of you may be thinking, best things? I didn't know there was anything good about being blind, because a lot of people think that losing their vision is just the worst possible thing that could ever happen, and it's really not that bad. So I'm going to start off with my list of the best things about being legally blind. So number one is that I can't see gross stuff. So like a movie that's bloody or gory, I don't really see that. I watch Game of Thrones and I know there are some nasty things happening in that show, but I don't really see them. Sometimes I can hear them and just the sound is a little disturbing. Also, one time me and my husband were waiting for a table at a restaurant and this kid threw up right in front of us. Again, I heard it, so it was still kind of gross, but I didn't see it. My husband did though, and I was kind of like, that's what you get for being able to see. Number two, I got my college paid for by the state through vocational rehabilitation services because I'm legally blind. So got my bachelor's degree, 4 years of college, all free. I don't have any debt or student loans. Number three, I think being legally blind really makes me unique. It's something different about me, something maybe a little interesting. If I wasn't legally blind, I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos because I don't know what in the world I would have to talk about. I also think it gives me a unique perspective on the world. I think I view the world differently than most people, and I experience things differently. I experience things through how they sound or how it feels or how it smells, and I think that is pretty unique. Number four, I think having a disability has made me more empathetic towards other people, not only people who have a disability, but just people in general who are having a hard time or who may be struggling or whatever it may be. I think I'm very compassionate towards other people because I know what it's like to feel down or to be frustrated. So I think I can really put myself in those people's shoes and want to help them. Number five, I think being legally blind has given me a more positive outlook on things. I think I generally have a positive attitude because I kind of have to, because if I was just like, I'm blind, it sucks so much all the time, then I would be miserable. So I have to think about it in terms of it's not that bad. And that sometimes carries over to other things in my life that aren't vision related at all, just other things that happen that may be unfortunate, like how people say life happens, all of those things that are annoying or inconvenient or disappointing. I still use that, it's not that bad, or it could always be worse. I think having a vision impairment has really just taught me to look on the bright side of things. Number six, I am so used to using my other senses to do things that it really comes in handy sometimes. So for example, if there is a power outage, I got this. Like, don't worry, I can find the flashlights, I can find the candles, I can whip up a snack, I can do whatever. Like, I don't need lights because I am so used to finding things with my hands or just knowing where things are. I don't need to be able to see. I can do a lot of things without being able to see. And a lot of people are so reliant on their vision that if they can't use it, they just don't know what to do. So sometimes I am more useful than a sighted person. Okay, moving on to the worst things about being legally blind. Number one is that I can't drive. That is probably the worst thing. It's very inconvenient in all senses. I can't just drive myself to a doctor's appointment or drive to the store to pick something up. It's inconvenient in social situations where someone always has to pick me up and take me home all the time. It's very limiting also in trying to find a job because I have to work somewhat close to my house, because if my job was too far away, then taking an Uber or a cab would be way too expensive and I wouldn't be able to afford it. So I'm limited to a certain area. Ubers and cabs are just expensive in general. Sometimes they aren't on time, or when you're ready to leave somewhere, you have to wait for them to come back and pick you up. You can't just leave whenever you're ready to go. Or if someone else, like a friend or a family member, is taking you somewhere, you're always on their time, whenever it's convenient for them to take you. And if they're late, then you're late, and you're always on someone else's time. Number 2 is getting hurt. I am constantly running into things, tripping over things, bumping into things. I often have bruises on my legs from where I run into things that are on the ground and I don't see them. The worst is bumping into something with my head or my face. If one of the upper kitchen cabinets is left open or something, sometimes I will hit my head or my face on that. So sometimes it can be really frustrating getting banged up all the time. Also, just generally knocking things over or spilling things. I don't know how many times I have knocked over a cup, picked it up, started wiping off what I spilt, and then while I'm cleaning it up, I knock the cup over again and spill it again. I can laugh about it now, but sometimes when it happens, it's very frustrating. Okay, so number 3, and really the rest of this list, is not so much about actually being blind, but more about how people treat you when you are blind. A lot of times people view people with disabilities as less than, or incompetent, or incapable, or unintelligent. And that's really sad, because a lot of people with disabilities are none of those things. I am completely competent and capable and intelligent, and it's really sad that people make those assumptions about me and about other people because they have one thing about them that is limiting, that they have no control of. I have no control over my vision, but it doesn't affect who I am. And it's really sad that people view me as less than just because I can't see. Number 4 is kind of related to that, which is that it is very hard to find a job. I know it's hard to find a job for anyone, but if you have a disability, it is hard to find a job. And if you are blind, it's especially hard to find a job. People think if you can't see that you just can't do anything. And I think that's because people think about it from their own perspective. They're like, if I couldn't see, there would be no way I would be able to do that. But people who are blind are used to not being able to see. So we've come up with our own way to do things, and we know how to do things without our vision. But employers, they just don't get that. They will hire the other person just because they can see. And even though discrimination is illegal, does not mean that it doesn't happen. It happens all the time. It's happened to me multiple times. But they can always say that they hired the other person because they have more experience or because they think that they're a better fit. Where in reality, maybe I'm the better candidate. I have a college degree. I graduated summa cum laude. I have experience in my field. I have volunteer experience. And, maybe I'm friendlier than the other candidate, and I work better with customers or clients or coworkers. Maybe I'm more organized. Maybe I can type faster. Maybe I'm more responsible. Maybe I'm more reliable. Maybe I'm more creative. Maybe I'm better than them in every area that there is, but because I can't see and they can, employers see them as the obvious choice. So that's just been really hard for me because I currently don't have a job, but I really want to work. I want to make a difference. I want to be productive and feel like I am contributing to something, that I'm doing something. I want to be able to do that. And it's just really sad that I can't do that because someone else is standing in my way, because employers won't give me a chance to do something that I know I can do. And number 5 is feeling isolated. There are quite a few instances that play a part in this. Number 1, like I was saying, not having a job. I'm not out in the world interacting with people on a daily basis. I'm at home a lot, and sometimes it's pretty lonely. Sometimes it's hard to be social. It's hard to make friends, and sometimes it's hard to socialize with the friends that you do have. Sometimes it just doesn't work out for someone to pick you up, to go to an event. Sometimes people don't invite you to stuff because they either assume that you don't have a ride, or they don't want to give you a ride, or they assume that it's something that you can't do or something that you don't want to do, and they just don't invite you. Sometimes you can even feel isolated when you are around people and they are passing around their phone with a picture and showing it to everyone, and they don't show it to you or even clue you into what it is, and everyone's laughing and you're just sitting over there by yourself not knowing what's going on, when it would be really easy for someone to just turn to you and say, oh, it's a picture of this, and explain to you what it is and why it's funny and why people are laughing so that you can join in the fun. So sometimes it can just feel isolating and kind of lonely. But that is the end of my list of the best and worst things about being legally blind. If you enjoyed this video, you can click the like button. You can also subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date with new videos that I'm posting. And also, I want to hear from you guys. If you have a disability, comment down below the best and worst things about your disability, because I would really like to hear what you have to say. And I will see you next time.